Greetings and welcome to Carla's Communication Corner. Today is December 27th, and I have a monthly podcast session series of subtopics around the main topic of communication. I already premiered the show on November 27th, and today is episode 2 on December 27th. Today's subtopic is going to be these series of subtopics on the main topic of communication gives my audience an opportunity to learn and have a conversation around their views on communication. Communication in all its forms, from communication via emails, social media, within the job, at home, in the community, because community means to me to come unify or come and be part of something, changing your life and empowering your life to prosperity, good health, and a balanced life, sharing the earth with others, giving thanks always for life. This episode, we defined communication. We looked at what does it mean, and you can go and look at that episode on YouTube and get an idea of what is communication defined as, and references are available upon request. So if you need a reference for any of the information that you're receiving, that I'm giving to you, you can request those references. So today's subtopic around the main topic of communication is communication with your colleagues via email and social media. So, the subtopic today within the various forms of communication is email communication and social media communication. So, how do you communicate via social media about yourself, or communicating with others on social media? And how do you communicate with your colleagues or others via email, whether it's at the job email or if it's your personal email? How do you communicate via email? That's the subtopic this month on Carla's Communication Corner. Stay tuned. And we're discussing communication via email and social media. So let's start off with emails. Everyone now has an email address of some sort. You either have a work email, you have your personal email, and you communicate through those ways as well. And using words and using language to get your point across, or get something done, or get a request made, something. How do you communicate that? That is what we're discussing today. So with the topic of emails, when you're communicating, let's look at your work email first. So we're going to look at work. When you're at work and you're communicating through your email, be very careful, because those email threads can be used against you. So you don't want that. You want to state within your emails, within your jobs, very little as possible. You do not want to have a full blown out conversation via email, and then your message isn't gotten across, language is lost, or something isn't said correctly, etc. So when you're communicating via email, it's best to keep it short and sweet. Very short, very sweet, to the point. And just state what is it that you are asking for, what is it that you're requesting, what is it that you're sharing. If you're responding to an email and somebody sent you an email and you're responding to them, that's a whole different thing. And that communication of responding to an email, we're going to discuss in a few. Stay tuned to Carla's Communication Corner. Um, but we're listening, everybody in the audience who's listening, we picked up where we're talking about communication, specifically email and social media, and specifically how you communicate sending out an email and how do you communicate responding to an email. So, first, let's give an example of sending out an email. And this is within your job, within a work atmosphere where you are, working in an office or you're working at home or you're working and you have to communicate with a supervisor or you have to communicate with, someone within the company. When you're creating an email, you want to have a salutation of the person's name and not just start typing whatever you're typing or wanting to say, but salute the person. So if they're Mary, if you go on a first name basis, you salute the person with a salutations and their name. So I usually like to say greetings because I am very specific about my words. I like to use my words wisely because I want to be able to express my words truthfully. So when I speak, it is not to offend anyone. If someone wants to greet and say hello, that's how they speak. We all speak differently, and our languages may be different. Some may speak Spanish, some may speak, French. So when I speak in English, I like to use English words that are specific to that one emotion and not a word that can be confused with the sound of another word. So for me, in communication, creating an email, I like to start off with greetings, Mary, when I'm on a first name basis. When I'm not on a first name basis and I'm sending an email to someone, I would use their last name and their title as well. When I don't know who the person is I'm sending an email to and it's just, a hiring manager, so I don't know the name, I haven't found the name of the person, I would just say greetings, hiring manager, if it's an email with an attached resume, for example. So when you're communicating via email and you're creating an email, you want to be respectful of the person you're communicating with, and you want to also salute that person and then begin your email using words that are specific to what you want to communicate. And as little words as possible is very important because you want to get straight to the point in your communication when you are creating an email. So stay tuned for when we return, we're going to be talking about responding to an email. All right, here we are. We've returned to Carla's Communication Corner. I am Carla, and we are going to be looking at the big topic of communication and the subtopic of emails, communication through emails. And now let's look at responding to emails. When you are responding to an email that someone sent you, you want to read exactly how the person addressed you, and you want to stay within their language or how they are framing things. Even though you're going to respond with new information, You want to be able to be consistent with how they are sending you an email. So, when you are getting an email from someone and they address you, or if they don't address you, you still, I would recommend that you still address them. Sometimes you have to be the example. So, it's a good thing to make sure that, when you respond to them, you respond with their name, and a comma. Then you go into the first thing you do is thank the person for their email that they sent you. Thank you for your for your email. So when we are communicating with each other via email, we want to not be as robotic. We want to be able to start off by giving some kind of thanks or thanking the person. So communication via email, you want to be able to thank the person for sending the email. All right? So responding to an email, you always want to start off by thanking them for sending the email. Thank you for your email. And then you get into the rest of the response to the email based on what the email is about. Okay, so that is basically communication via email, some suggestions, some tips as to how I do it, and maybe that could help someone. This is Carla's Communication Corner. We will be returning shortly. Okay, we have returned. This is Carla's Communication Corner, and we're talking about our main topic of communication. And our subtopic tonight is communication via email and social media. So we talked about communication via email. Now let's look at communication via social media. This can get kind of dicey because we kind of tend to relax in our language when we are communicating via social media. I talked about communication via email within your job, within, when you're responding and sending emails within your job to colleagues or to coworkers, etc. And you want to be professional. Even though you are friends at work, you still want to remember that the email thread can be held against you. So you want to always be kind, respectful within that. And we discussed that. Now we're looking at communication via social media. And social media, there's a variety of social media: Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. There's so many different social media sites that have chat boxes where you can communicate in a chat box. You can leave a comment within the social media platform on others' posts. You can communicate via social media in a lot of different ways. And how we do that and the protocol within that, the language we use, is very interesting because it's kind of sometimes based on communication via text messages. And that's going to be another session where we talk about communication via text messages. But tonight we're looking at emails and social media. So let's return now to social media. And let's take, for example, Facebook. All right? We communicate on Facebook. I do. And I use it for my business where I post social issues, social topics, family issues, child development issues, different things that's aligned with my work. Because my work is my career. It's not a job, it's a career where I am actually living my career, and this is happening every day. And that means I use social media a lot. When I communicate via Facebook and I post, for example, a picture of a child with a book and I'm talking about reading, the importance of it, and somebody makes a post as a comment and they say or they like it or they post the actual words and language. So this is what we're talking about in terms of communication, responding to an social media comment. And everything is not built where you have to feel a need to respond to every single person. Some people, social media is thousands of people, and sometimes they're not able to respond to everybody. Now when that happens, you want to be able to post and communicate through your posts a thankful appreciation of your followers, your friends, people who see your posts, etc. It's important to have a communication that's respectful. We sometimes post in social media, we communicate on social media about our feelings about, and it can get kind of to the point of some people share a lot of their personal information. Oh, I am, at a spa today. And you communicating about you. Sometimes it's important to communicate about issues around your feelings of those issues. We have a tendency with social media to communicate just about ourselves, and it's important, I feel, within the communication to build a community of communication, especially when you're on social media, so that it's not a narcissistic grooming on social media where it's you're talking about yourself and you're talking about yourself, you're talking about yourself. What about communicating your experiences that maybe somebody else can learn from, or your education, or what you've learned, or something that can help somebody else? So I look at communication as you're helping a situation by using your words and your language to do that. And within that framework of communication, there's an underlying need for people to express themselves and talk about themselves. However, when we are communicating, I feel that it's important to share experiences more so than feelings of my boyfriend left me, um, my family, doesn't treat me good, stuff like that you're exposing on social media. That communication can make you look like a victim, and that you're communicating this about yourself. So it's always good to be careful, especially within social media, how you communicate and how that's done and what you want to represent about yourself within social media and communication around social media. How you respond to other people's posts, what you post, what are you communicating, how are you responding to other people's communications that they are sharing through their posts, because social media is a big hub of communication. There's conversations happening, there's a lot of information being shared, and that information that's being shared, it's being communicated by someone that's sharing it. So we have to take into account all of the aspects of social media in terms of communication and the language that we use and what we respond to, because we have to learn to pick our battles. And I'm learning that myself. every day is a learning for me. So I don't put myself to be a perfect communicator at all. I started Carla's Communication Corner as a attempt to learn myself how to communicate better and to share that with others and have others share their experiences about communication within their lives. So that is Carla's Communication Corner. December 27th. I will see you again January 27th when we talk about communication, the main topic. And the subtopic next month is going to focus on communication via text messages and communication on the phone. Not face to face communication, but communication on the phone and text messages. So we're looking next month at communication with your phone. Phones are something that has taken over our lives. So I want to talk about how we use them to communicate. See you later. This is Carla's Communication Corner signing out for December 27th. I'll see you next month on the 27th. Happy communication.